Kersey in the middle, and Detlef Schrempf. Let's check in with our guy on the sidelines, Mark Zumoff. Mark.
Adjustments, Michael. It's the playoff cliche. What does Flip Saunders do? Going smaller, as you can see, with a 3-guard lineup. In addition, spread the floor. Give Marbury some room to operate defensively. Double down on Vin Baker, particularly with a passer. Note that. And finally, deny. If Gary Payton likes the baseline, deny it to him. If Detlef Schrempf likes the left hand, deny that. No denying, guys. It sounds pretty simple, doesn't it?
It does, except there are a lot of denies when you're talking about a team that won 61 games. But we'll see what the Timberwolves can come up with here tonight. How about this 3-guard lineup, Jack? How does that hit you?
Well, I think the main thing Seattle's going to try to do early is now you might rotate Vin Baker out just a little bit, put Detlef down on the low post so he can work against the smaller men. Regardless, one of those two guys are going to be able to get off down low because there's going to be a size advantage to Seattle.
All right, Ron Olisiak will throw it up. It will be Baker and Garnett on the tap, and the Sonics will get a chance to draw first blood here, and Marbury immediately jumps out defensively on Payton. Mitchell has got Schrempf. Porter's going to have to cover Kersey. A bit of a mismatch there. There's the double on Baker, the quick kick, and Payton misses the outside jumper, and Peeler comes away with a rebound.
Interesting, they doubled down small. A lot of times against a guy like Vin Baker, who particularly coming off a big game, you bring one of your big people down, but they force the outside shot.
Marbury wide open and buries it.
Well, that's a much better start right there for Minnesota. I see the same kind of look in their eyes now that I saw in the Seattle Supersonics going into game 1.
Sam Mitchell jumps out on Schrempf at half court. Now Payton will set the offense. Here's Kersey, turns on Porter. That's a big size advantage for Jerome. Kicks it back. They swing at Payton again. Same spot. 0 for 2.
Well, you know, the thing is, you at least get a jump ball out of that particular play. Gary Payton, a flat shot right here, and it sticks right between the basket and the backboard. So you have to jump that one up when it happens. You won't see that happen very often.
Tap easily controlled by Garnett this time, and so we talked with Flip Saunders earlier, Jack, about how important the first 5 minutes of this game were.
Well, you remember the first 5 minutes of game 1, it was over. In that first 5 minutes, Seattle got up to an 8-0 start. I think Minnesota made a run, but didn't have nearly enough to get back in the game.
Marbury misses the 3 outside, and Baker clears it. He'll bring it up himself. Gets it to Schrempf on a wing. Kersey will try.
That's going to be the factor right there, because with the smaller lineup, someone is going to have an advantage in size. Right now, it's Jerome Kersey working against Porter.
Flip Saunders really felt his team just got intimidated early the other night. Were never in the game. And that's a pretty accurate assessment. Terry Porter for 2.
I like what we're seeing out of Minnesota here early. They are taking the ball to the basket instead of relying on the outside shots. That's where Seattle gets a lot of runouts.
Payton is 0 for 3. Baker trying to keep it alive. Tipped and controlled by Mitchell. Marbury had Garnett ahead of the field. Never got it to him, then got swallowed up by Kersey. Peeler, a little floater. That doesn't go down, and Anthony's shooting woes continue.
Well, that's a missed opportunity because Garnett should have had the alley-oop up at the basket.
Schrempf for 2.
Interesting. They tried to get Baker started early in the game 1. He hasn't touched the ball in shooting position yet here. Other people getting involved.
Garnett, little half hook, rolls out, and Schrempf is there.
Okay, what the double team Seattle gets anytime Minnesota catches the ball on that low post. Very impressive.
Here's Payton down in the blocks. Oh, nice pass. Give the basket to Baker. Give the round of applause to Payton.
You think Payton missed his first couple shots on purpose just to draw the defense to him a little more so he could get someone else involved? Beautiful pass.
Mitchell will try one deep and bury a 3 straight on.
Making shots for Minnesota is a must. They have to find a way to get that field goal percentage up. Shot just 34% in that game, the second lowest shooting percentage night they've had all year long.
Well, at this point on Friday night, they were down 8-0, so they're obviously in much better shape here this evening. Payton, again, swallowed up, gets it back to Hawkins. He leaves it for Kersey, and Kersey's 2 for 2.
What a call by George Karl to put Kersey in the lineup, pull Jim McIlvaine out of there. That has been huge.
Here's Porter. Now they look inside to Garnett. Immediately the double team from Hawkins. They swing it to an open Marbury. He finds Mitchell, and Sam knocks down his second three.
Boy, oh boy, they are seeing the basket so much better here earlier than they saw the basket in game 1.
Shrimp on a cut to Hawkins. And there's our first foul.
Payton is so good at seeing the floor. And Vin Baker showing great hands. That was not an easy one to handle. But he made it look easy.
Anthony Peeler picked up that foul. We played 4 minutes and 20 seconds of this game without a foul call. Payton again. And Gary is still looking for his first basket, and they're going to say Jerome Kersey was out of bounds. It'll be Minnesota ball.
Well, you have to think Gary Payton's going to start knocking down some shots. He goes through those stretches where making shots are hard to come by. But then he can heat up and get the points going very quickly.
Great. Quick move to the basket, and then Baker got back defensively on Marbury. Here's Hawkins in the middle. Payton's going to take it and make it.
Well, they are so good in the open floor, and they get energy off of their defense. That is what George Karl looks for. He knows how well they're going to be, depending upon how effective and how aggressive they are defensively.
Payton is 1 of 5 in the game. The rest of the team is a perfect 4 for 4. Here's Garnett. He's open. That's a back rims at Mitchell there. Boy, Mitchell, we've called his name more in the first 6 minutes, Jack, than we did all.
Well, you know, he's coming off of that hamstring injury, and I think that was a factor game 1.
Payton, and it goes.
Obviously, Flip Saunders wanted the push-off by Gary Payton. If you don't give me the push-off, he says, at least call the travel. He covered a lot of ground without a dribble.
Kind of a multiple choice.
Yeah, take your pick on that one. There's another guy that has to get going.
There you go.
He's going to have to make shots. When you're giving them the kind of play he's given them the last 24 games of the season, you come to rely on a guy like Anthony Peeler. He can't go 3 for 14 again.
Timberwolves up 2 halfway through this first. Much different start than we had on Friday night. Little 2-man game. Baker and Payton.
He's going to keep taking them.
Yeah. I don't blame him because he's wide open. Here's Hawkins trying. Front rims that one, and Porter's up there for the rebound. He'll start the break. He's got Peeler and Mitchell with him. Porter all the way, and he got fouled. Those didn't look like old legs on Terry Porter that time as he went coast to coast. Smart legs. With the rebound, and we've got a timeout. 5:51 to go in the first, and the T-Wolves are right there up 2.
Here's the ball. You'll see the double team coming. That's what Seattle likes to do. But watch the ball movement. It goes to here, and then you're going to find Mitchell in the corner for the jump shot. Now, these are the same kind of shots Minnesota got in game 1. They were not going. Then the other thing is, watch the rotation defensively. Hersey Hawkins comes over, but instead of forcing Mitchell to put the ball on the floor, he's a little bit slow getting there, and Mitchell nails the jump shot.
We talked earlier about the need for some people to step up for the Timberwolves. So far, Garnett and Marbury are 1 for 6. The rest of the team 5 for 6.
I think they would like to have 5 for 6 more than the other way, because you know Marbury and Garnett are going to give you some numbers before this game is over. I thought it was huge to get the perimeter, the role players, the fringe guys involved in the game for Minnesota, and they have done that.
Porter with 3 points here early, and that is the Minnesota lead right now at 15-12. 5:51 left to go here in the first, and he rims in the second.
Now, I kind of think this smaller lineup has caught Seattle off guard. I think the change George Karl thought Minnesota would make would be starting Stanley Roberts in the middle. Because of his bad back, you want to try to get him going early. But this smaller lineup's been tough to deal with.
A great block by Garnett. Marbury lays it down. Garnett unable to handle it cleanly, and Jerome Kersey, who is in the mix most of the time, knocks it out of bounds.
Well, you'll see Detlef take the ball to the basket. Obviously, they want a goaltending. I don't think so on this play. But then the other thing, Seattle does a great job getting back on defense, taking away the transition game. You know Minnesota needs some easy ones here to win this ball game.
George Karl now counters with a smaller lineup of his own as Nate McMillan comes in and Kersey goes out. Mitchell, Sam is off to a big night. 10 points for Mitchell here in the first 7 minutes of the game.
You know, the thing I like as much as anything about Sam Mitchell is his competitiveness. He understands he let this team down in game 1. He wants to make amends for it, and he has already.
There goes Payton to the basket. No. Baker. No. Baker again won't go down. Here comes Peeler, gets it ahead to Marbury. Garnett again running the floor. Stephon, no. Garnett, yes.
I think it's good to have your point guard pushing the ball up the floor. But I think at some point in this game, Stephon Marbury is going to have to feed some people on the perimeter, on the wing, or they're going to stop running with him, and he's going to be there by himself.
8-point Minnesota lead with 4:40 to go here in the first. And off the ball, I think they got Terry Porter down low, who was caught in a mismatch with Vin Baker.
This early lead brings back for all the fans here in Key Arena a lot of bad memories in game 2 of series, because Seattle has struggled in some key series under George Karl. By the way, they've never swept the team in the first round, so they would like to do that to get some rest for some people that are hurting a little bit.
You could say they are sweepless in Seattle.
Yes, they are. And they want to change that. I'll let you use that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Been waiting for that opening for days.
Yeah, here's some of those sonic busts, as we call them. That series against Denver back in '94 got the bad luck started for this team. They won both games here, lost the second 3 to Denver, and then they went downhill quickly in the playoffs after that.
McMillan hits a 3.
A timely basket there, and everything they get from Nate McMillan in the 12 to 14 minutes he's going to play, a huge bonus.
Marbury now end-line to end-line, being covered by Payton, denying him the ball.
You know that's what Payton's going to do. Offensive foul, I think, on Peeler.
Yes, on Peeler. Good call. That's 2 now on Anthony Peeler. Jerry Seasting up off the Minnesota bench, waving Marbury and Porter into the backcourt, saying, come on, pick him up. 3-quarter court. Here goes Payton to the basket, kicks it out. McMillan, long with that one. Peeler keeps it alive, and Mitchell's there.
Minnesota is so much better defensively in this game, so much more active, and they don't look afraid tonight as they did in game 1. Terry Porter, he'll knock that one down. It's a 2-point shot, but he'll knock that one down, particularly on this night when that basket is large for Minnesota.
6 for Porter, 7 the lead. We're approaching 3 minutes to go in the first. Baker has to kick it out. Boy, we haven't called Baker's name much on the offensive end. Hawkins gets stripped. Loose ball picked up, walked down low by Garnett, picked off the floor by Peeler. Here come the Wolves. Peeler, there's Garnett. Oh, good feed. Marbury, no. Taken down by Hawkins, advances to Payton. Porter's back. He's got McMillan, finds him back to Payton.
There's the passing. Now you see what happens when Seattle gets in the break. That ball is moving to the open man. Minnesota, it's sticking, and really not all the way, but a half step is all it takes for a team like Seattle when they're good defensively.
That basket wakes up this crowd. It has been, for Seattle, quiet here the first 7 minutes. Garnett misses outside. McMillan inside. Baker spins, bumps.
Offensive foul on Baker, maybe? On the floor.
Before the shot. Yep. Kevin Garnett picks it up, his first. And we are going to get ourselves a timeout. The Sonics moving the ball on the break, but they trail by 5, 22-17. Go in the first. Mike Gorman along with Jack Evans, and let's check in with our third man, Mark Sumoff. Mark.
Hey, guys, you remember they once told Scottie Pippen it must be the shoes? Well, for the Wolves, it must be in the uniforms. You might recall they got blown out in game 1 by 25. They wore their alternate uniforms, the black ones. So after losing the game, Flip Saunders, who's very superstitious, goes storming into the Minnesota locker room. What does he say? Not we got to stop Vin Baker. Not we got to deal with Gary Payton. It's, guys, you ain't wearing those uniforms anymore.
Well, it looks better on him, that's for sure. Particularly if you look at the scoreboard.
Michael Williams has checked into the game. He's out there defensively, nearly slapped it away from McMillan.
Now, this is a matchup I thought they'd go too early. Try to take advantage of Detlef's size.
Tom Hammonds also into the game for the first time. Payton kicks it out. McMillan front rims the three, and Williams jumps in there for the rebound, and the foul will be on McMillan from behind.
Seattle relies heavily on that three-point line. No surprise they are putting them up. Somewhat of a surprise they're not making them. 1 for 6 from behind the three-point line. George Karl talking to him right before the game. He said, I asked him about the three-point shot. Can you rely on it too heavily? He said, you know, I want to go back, send you back to that Houston series with the Orlando Magic. And you remember Houston making all those three-point shots. He said, that night, I changed my whole philosophy. I said, this is how we need to play. And he has incorporated it into their offense.
Terry Porter unable to shake Nate McMillan. Now Porter comes up shooting, back rims it, rebound taken down nicely by Marbury. Then he got stripped by Payton. Here comes Payton on the break. Payton, offensive foul.
You'll see Gary Payton. I don't know if the defense was totally set, but Michael Williams did a great job getting back, setting up, getting position, gave up his body, and you see what Gary Payton thought of that call.
The T-Wolves have Williams, Marbury, Hammonds, Porter, and Mitchell on the floor. It's McMillan, Payton, Perkins, Ellis in the game for the first time, and Vin Baker for the Sonics. And that foul is on Nate McMillan, and he's picked up 2.
Williams, once again, want to see this play because this is one of those that could have gone either way, although I do think Williams' feet were set, and that's one of those calls you can't argue about unless it's against you. Could have gone either way.
Williams could dish on the baseline to Hammonds.
That's the passing I'm talking about from that point guard spot. You can't hold on to it any longer than you have to because Seattle is so good defensively.
T-Wolves hanging on to a 7-point lead here, a minute and change left to go in the first. It is quiet in Seattle. That is not often the case in this building.
I'll tell you what, when you think about the changes that must be made between games in these playoff series, I think right now Flip Saunders has the advantage in the old chess match that coaches tend to play at that time. He comes out with the smaller lineup, which worked to his advantage. He comes off the bench with Michael Williams, a little used guy all season long, and Michael known for his defense and getting the ball to people, doing it right now.
Just the 3rd point of the night for Baker. Michael Williams, of course, coming back from that really painful injury that kept him out literally for years.
Yes.
He has no padding at all, if you can imagine this, left in his left heel. And when you ask him what's it like to play like that, he says, imagine playing on your knees.
Oh, man.
That's what it feels like.
He played in 10 games in the 3 years prior to this season. And he played in just 6 games this year. So to be using him right now, quite a surprise.
It's Marbury. Baker jumps out on him, top of the key. Got to be a mismatch somewhere. But Marbury beats him off the dribble. Hammonds got fouled from behind, and McMillan suddenly has 3.
Sometimes that switching defense Seattle likes to use hurts them out in the floor. Now, if you take a look at this play, you'll see Vin Baker matched up against Marbury. Marbury doing what he has to do. Put the ball on the floor, get to the paint against those bigger people, and get a shot for someone.
And you and I had a chance to sit around for about an hour today with Kevin McHale, and he was talking about how important it was not for Marbury to necessarily beat somebody off the dribble, but what he did once he got into the teeth of the defense.
Well, you know, and that's why I said earlier in the game when Marbury was leading the fast break, and instead of getting some other people involved, he took the ball right onto the basket. Maybe not the best shot in that situation.
Greg Anthony checking into the game for the first time. McMillan having to sit down with those 3 fouls. Hammonds makes his free throw. It is an 8-point Minnesota lead.
Well, and we're saying that without Marbury and without Garnett having big games.
They've combined for 4 points, 4 of the 26. Michael Williams picks up that foul outside as the fouls have begun to pile up a bit here.
You know, the real key in that particular play with Michael Williams, I mean, it's all about sending messages for these players. He's telling Gary Payton, Gary, I'm on you wherever you go. Get used to it. Get ready for it.
Don't forget, tomorrow night on TNT, it's doubleheader night as Cleveland will host Indiana in Game 3 of that series, followed by Phoenix at San Antonio. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern tomorrow night on
CNC. I think the youth of the Cavs is showing in that series. You have both games so far. At some point in that game, Cleveland led, and led big in game 2, but they couldn't close it out.
Kicked out of bounds by Greg Anthony, according to Steve Johnson.
I don't know. I think that might have been hitting Mitchell's foot. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good call,
I
Jack.
think it might have hit Mitchell.
Yeah.
So maybe a break.
Wrong sneaker.
I do think Greg Anthony took a swipe at it with his foot. I thought it missed. What a big first period for Minnesota after the first period of game 1.
It's about a second and a half difference between the shot clock and game clock. And Sam Mitchell has got a dozen.
Oh, that's one of those shots. No, Sam, we have a lot of time left on the clock. Don't take it. Oh, great shot, Sam. I knew you could make it.
He is 5 for 5. 2 of those 3-pointers. Perkins comes up short. And the Minnesota Timberwolves have answered the call here in Seattle. We have played one. And Sam Mitchell and company have themselves a surprising 28-20 lead. Tonight, it was all Sonics as they were cruising, shooting 60%, and Vin Baker having the game of his life tonight. Sam Mitchell with a playoff high 12 points here in the first quarter.
Well, I think a couple things are important when you talk about Sam Mitchell. Number one, he has been able tonight to find the open place on the floor. But you also see he is running a whole lot better tonight than he did in game 1. So that hamstring, another day of treatment yesterday, that hamstring feeling good, and he is making shots.
Anthony Peeler is out there with Marbury, Mitchell, Hammonds, and Williams. Garnett stays over there on the Minnesota bench. Mitchell gets double, finds Peeler. Still unable to. If he ever finds the range, Minnesota will be in great shape.
He's having a hard time, and I think the thing you're seeing is Del Ellis lets it go quickly from behind the three-point line. They're running at Peeler every time he touches the ball.
Nice hustle rebound there by Sam Perkins. He gets it back from Baker. Wants to go over Williams. And he'll get himself to the free throw line.
Somehow the mismatch came as Williams got caught down on the low post against Perkins. The veteran team recognized that very quickly, got him the ball back, and he gets to the free throw line. I think one key statistic so far for Flip Saunders and his Minnesota team is the 8 assists on their 11 field goals made. The ball is really moving well, and everyone is getting involved.
Perkins with that line drive free throw of his puts it down. Detlef Schrempf right now over there on the Sonic bench. Hammonds there for the miss.
Hammond started game 1. I think the reason for the change obviously was to get some more quickness on the floor, but they needed a big body coming off the bench because they're not going to get anything from Stanley Roberts. Cherokee Parks is maybe lost for the rest of this series.
Marbury just wants to take Anthony and does.
Well, I think he'll have a little bit more confidence working against Greg Anthony than he does against his counterpart starter in the backcourt, Gary Payton.
Payton the other way, gets by Williams, leaves it for Anthony along the baseline. Anthony decides to shoot it and makes a 3. That's huge for Greg Anthony.
Yeah, you talk about what difference a day makes. Anthony's first 3 shots in game 1 were air ball.
Yep.
And he knocks down the 3-point shot.
Is Marbury looking to take him again. Leaves it this time for Peeler. Anthony jumps out on him. Mitchell, little bounce pass. Marbury back to Mitchell. Wow, no foul, Anthony.
Obviously not a good play by Greg Anthony there. Gets him across the arm. Stephen Marbury, you'll see him. He hasn't done this against Payton this whole series. But he takes it right onto the hole, muscles his way to the basket, and pushes Greg Anthony right out of the way.
Now, obviously, we're talking about one of the great players in the game in Gary Payton, but Marbury hasn't attacked Payton with that same kind of passion that he attacks Anthony.
And you know, it's interesting because if you think about Gary Payton in his first couple of years, I think you see Stephen Marbury.
Great point.
He loves himself, and I'm not meaning that in a bad way, but he understands he has talent. He doesn't mind letting you know he has talent, and he loves a challenge. But Stephen Marbury, I think, intimidated just a little bit by Payton.
So far, the rest of the team has stepped up. We said at the top they would need to. They did not on Friday night, and the T-Wolves got smoked. Tonight, Sam Mitchell and company are putting on a show, and it's 32-24, 8-point Minnesota lead. Hopkins trying to free himself down to the baseline. Felix stays with them. Anthony has to come the other way to Ellis. They go inside Detlef Schrempf, outside Ellis with time.
You know, when you think about Minnesota and all the things they have in front of them, Sam Mitchell's limping. Sam Mitchell is hurting. Maybe that hamstring, we talked about it. He called the 22nd timeout, and he is going right to the bench. Boy, you just have to hope he's okay with the start he has gotten off to.
9:59 left to go here in this first half.
The point, Mike, I was going to make about the versatility of Seattle. You have to pick what you're going to give up.
All right, Aaron, thanks very much. And Sam Mitchell has gone to the locker room. Not a good sign at all for these Minnesota Timberwolves, as Sam already has a career playoff high 14 points and has been the heart and soul of this offense so far.
You don't want to lose that guy, because not only does he give you another guy on the floor that can score, he also has kind of become the leader of this club.
Count the basket for Tom Hammonds, and he'll get to the line.
Let's take a look here at Sam Mitchell's injury. You think back to that foul by Greg Anthony across the arm. Right here as Mitchell goes up for a shot, watch his legs. He kind of flails out there with his legs and comes up limping. And he tried to run. He could not. He's gone back to the locker room.
You don't like to see that almost look of resignation on his face there. Sam knew exactly what the problem was. Anthony comes down with the miss. 34-27, 7-point game, 9:38 to go. First half, Schrempf, Hawkins, Perkins, Ellis, and Anthony on the floor right now. Stephon Marbury commits that foul off the ball. Terry Porter is going to check back into the game here for the Timberwolves. He won't get in this possession.
I'll tell you one thing for Seattle. Once again, when you think about all the things has happened to them in the playoffs, the longer this game stays close, the tougher it might be for them to pull it out here.
Ellis gets his own miss and kicks it back out to Anthony. Fresh clock. And the Sonics will reset.
A much better job that time by Minnesota, rotating out to the three-point line.
Michael Williams, I believe, picked that up, his second personal foul.
Well, you've seen some of the fouls they're picking up here now, and I'm talking Minnesota, just kind of reaching and holding on. And when you think about the short bench they have to begin with, foul trouble cannot be a factor in this game for them.
Garnett is back on the floor, but Marbury has gone to the bench. Here's Garnett with 2 fouls matched up against Schrempf. Schrempf kicks it. Perkins.
Now that's ball movement right there.
Just A1.
But once again, the rotation by Minnesota on the defense to get to the shooters.
And Porter just ripped that rebound away. Michael Williams can't hit baseline. Peeler is there, stripped by Hawkins. Hawkins on the break, spins. No, taken down by Garnett. Gets it up quickly to Porter. Porter into the paint, pulls up.
Well, I'm just glad to know Minnesota has changed their philosophy about just running up and down and outscoring Seattle. They are playing some defense here in this ball game, and that gives them quick, easy opportunities on the other end.
No matter how this game turns out, just great performances in this first half from Porter and Mitchell, 2 veteran players.
Yeah, look at the challenge on the jump shots, though. They are out at the three-point line. Obviously, they don't want you to beat them from there.
Good trap on Hawkins down there on the baseline. Let's check in with Mark Zumoff. What you got, Mark?
Michael, it appears to be pretty good news for Minnesota. It looks as though Sam Mitchell will return to the game. They say a cramp in the area of the left hamstring, not a recurrence of the same injury. So Sam is expected back.
Anthony with the baseline drive. Count it, he'll get to the line.
Well, that's good news for Minnesota, because they definitely need Mitchell for this series.
Ooh, that was a huge drive by Anthony. Not so much because of the points, but look who picks up the foul.
Well, I tell you what you saw in that play was a slow rotation by Minnesota. Maybe the first time in this game they didn't come with the help from the weak side. And that's 3 fouls, I think, on Kevin Garnett. 1+ though in that 3 personal fouls, as Minnesota has been able to lead this game without Garnett giving them very much so far.
Sam Mitchell just came right from the locker room and walked right up to Flip Saunders and said, "I'm fine," and wanted to come right back into the game. Flip said, "Michael, wait a second here. We are going to get a 20-second timeout by the Timberwolves with 7:53 to go here in the half, and they're hanging on to a 7-point lead. It has pretty consistently been in the 6, 7, 8 range now for about 10 minutes of this game, Jack.
Well, you know what? As you look at the pace of this ball game, Minnesota is doing just what they want to do. I mean, you look at the board, and they have 36 points, so they are getting their share of points. That's what they rely on, being able to get to 100 better every night. So they're doing that. But once again, I'm really impressed with what they've been able to do on the defensive end, particularly the rotation out to the 3-point line after their need to double team whomever Seattle puts on the low post.
Well, you and I got a chance to sit a little bit with Flip Saunders this afternoon. He was pretty frank. He said, we can't beat these guys in an 88-84 game.
And I'm surprised. He wants his team to score points. He wants, and if you give up some points to get the ball back to be able to score, that's good. But he wants to get this game up to around 110 points for his team.
He's on that pace right now. Gary Payton has come back into the game for the Sonics. Anthony, Schrempf, Hawkins, and Baker are out there. It's Peeler, Williams, Hammonds, Mitchell back in, and Porter. Is Hammonds, little jump hook, no. Hawkins flips to the head. Anthony, Porter's got an angle. Anthony up and under, can't make it. Oh, great ball by Schrempf.
Wonderful job filling the lane and getting in for the putback for Denton. I tell you right now, as this crowd gets loud, that was a factor in game 1. And every Minnesota player said the crowd took them out of it.
Williams will try. Front rims it. Peeler, nice fake. And Anthony Peeler knocks it down.
Timely for him as well. You know his struggle.
6 rebounds for Peeler quietly here tonight to go with 4 points. Schrempf spins into the lane, leaves it for Payton. Good fake, and a 3-second call. We have got a timeout. The crowd not liking that call at all. Look at Detlef on the follow here. 6:44 to go first half. 38-31. T-Wolves still on top. Chicago survives the scare. There are the brackets. We'll have all those games coming up, boys. You can see 3 on TNT and 1 on TBS.
Well, what about the
Knicks?
playoffs? There's trouble they've had scoring points against one of the better defensive teams in the NBA, and they come back today, get 96 on them.
Porter can't hit the jumper, gets his own miss, takes it to the basket, kicks it to Peeler. He'll try. Hammonds couldn't get the rebound, just mistimed his jump.
Well, Peeler seems to be rushing that shot. It might be the pump fake is needed. A couple of dribbles, get a little bit closer is what he needs right now to get a shot to go.
With Baker, he has to kick it out. Schrempf back rims a 3. Long rebound taken by Peeler. If he looked up, he had Mitchell, didn't see him.
I'm just surprised Detlef let Mitchell off the hook that easily. You know he's hurting. I think putting the ball on the floor, let's see how well he's going to be able to move. And Detlef let him off.
Marbury coming around the screen, chased by Payton. Marbury to the basket, blocked by Baker. On the break. Oh, nice hustle by Peeler, who looks at the official and says, hey, he whacked me on the way by, and he did.
Minnesota, well, they are so much more active. Now there's that move to the basket. Now he doesn't get that one to go, but he's going to make those if he mixes it up.
Baker brings it all the way up himself. Payton will shovel pass there. Buries the baseline jumper.
Well, you know what? They're going to Detlef against Sam Mitchell right now, although it's not giving Detlef the first touch. So they're getting the good results, making Mitchell play some defense and move on that bad leg.
Sonics back to within 5, and their crowd becomes a factor again. Marbury, oh, that's a deep 3. I mean, a deep 3.
Don't like those shots. When you think about what you did to get back in the game.
Look at this.
See those kind of shots just throw you right off in every area. When you take that quick shot, no one else is involved. and it leads to an easy opportunity. Now, that was a little bit easier than you would think, but that's easy.
Flip Saunders wants a timeout. Listen to this crowd. Are back, and bring on the noise is the theme of the game tonight, and they are bringing it on here in Seattle right now as the Sonics have closed to within 3 at 38-35, 8-2 run. All of that coming since Vin Baker and Gary Payton came back into the game for Seattle.
Shot selection now a little bit of a problem for Minnesota, and I think in a situation like this, it's good to give the ball to one of your veterans, either Mitchell or Porter, and see what you get.
That great block by Hawkins down there on the baseline, and a shot clock violation.
Well, the shot had to go up because of the shortness of the shot clock, and the defense makes the adjustment there. Hawkins gets the block.
Big time play.
But I just think right now for Minnesota, you have to now get one of your veterans involved. Porter carried him early, as did Mitchell. It's time for them to touch the ball, get back to what got you the lead.
Sonics can tie with the 3. They go inside to Baker, outside to Payton. Payton to the basket. No, kicks it out. Oh, great strip by Marbury on Anthony, and Stefan will get 2.
Minnesota showing they can play defense as well.
Garnett has to sit through all of this with 3 fouls over there on the Timberwolves bench. Anthony. Oh, he made it. I was just about to say they'll give him that shot.
Well, you know, the thing is, they're concerned with Vin Baker on the low post. And once again, when you play against Seattle, you have to decide what you're going to give up and what you're not. They want to take Vin Baker out of the game. That means someone's going to be open at the three-point line.
Payton back on Marbury. Really goes after him, knocked him down, as a matter of fact. Rebound to Baker. Sonics once again a chance to tie. Here's Payton. Cross court. Anthony. Rebound taken by Porter. Comes up with the head up by Marbury. Marbury to the basket. Yes! And he'll go to the line.
Well, I think this little run by Minnesota just what they needed. But you look at the transition game as where it's coming. Payton on Marbury. Watch the little push after the pass is made. Messages.
Messages is right.
But Marbury comes right back at him, puts it on the floor, takes it right onto the hole. Detlef gets him across the arm, and he has a chance for a three-point play. Glad to see Marbury come back with a couple of trips to the basket after the quick shots from the outside.
Jack, I would think it is critical for Minnesota to get to the half with a lead.
They have to have a lead, because if they don't, that means Seattle has the momentum going into the locker room. That means this crowd is going to be hot in the second half, and right now Minnesota controlling the game.
Terry Porter out defensively right now on Payton, and that's going to be a reach on Porter as Payton went by. You know, we're seeing this here tonight. I think I heard Doc Rivers mention this yesterday, that you can tell that these guys are getting tired of seeing each other now a little bit. Second game in a row. They're getting a little feisty.
It happens that way, but then you understand it's a 5-game series, and it could very well go 5. You better put some of those emotions on the shelf, maybe until the last couple of games in the series, because you can find yourself on the bench or out of the game for technicals if you don't.
Jerome Kersey back into the game. Schrempf will go out. 43-39. Minnesota able to hang on to this lead with Kevin Garnett watching with 3 fouls. Marbury with the Anthony pressure. Mitchell trying to get out and set a screen. I think they have got Kersey with the hold. There's Kevin Garnett.
Now, Kersey obviously doesn't like that call. I mean, he's the starter because he is a lot more physical, because he knows he has to be the aggressive player, the most aggressive player on this Seattle team, but he got caught that time.
Once again, Marbury keeping the dribble alive. Anthony and he knocked it out of bounds, and Marbury touched it trying to get it back.
You know, you talk a lot about Gary Payton as the toughest defensive player on this team, and there's no question he is. But Greg Anthony I mean, he plays pretty decent defense also, and that gets overlooked a little bit in this game. But what about that backup coming off the bench?
Absolutely.
Don't lose much defensively.
Here's Payton trying to take Porter. Payton has to kick it out. Baker. Payton is trying to post up. Payton, tough shot. No, rebound. Hammonds is all over. 3-point Timberwolves lead. Marbury finds the open man. Mitchell, no. Oh, great rebound. Peeler. And Porter buries the three.
Now look at the 2 shots you get on that possession. Sam Mitchell, one of your veterans, and Terry Porter, one of your veterans. You have to get those 2 guys involved and keep them there. Peeler with 9 rebounds, had 10 in game 1, even though he could not make a shot.
And the Sonics commit an offensive foul. Baker picks it up.
Peeler gets the ball back out to Porter. And Minnesota has done just what they've needed to do to ensure themselves a good chance of having a lead at halftime.
That foul was on Anthony, not Baker. There goes Marbury. The dish.
That's nice. That's real
wide
nice.
open.
And I don't know if we saw Marbury penetrate to the paint 5 times in game 1 all game long, and that's all he's doing right now.
Kersey. Payton tips the rebound, didn't pull it down, tried to tip it, and Marbury comes up with it, gives it to Mitchell. No, tipped. Yes!
You give that to Peeler. If you do, he has 10 rebounds already in this game. George Carroll wants a 20-second timeout.
Boy, if indeed this game was a character check for this young Minnesota Timberwolves club, they are coming through with flying colors right now.
Well, they put together a 10-2 run, and once again, I like the way they're pushing the ball down the floor, and that ball is moving to the open man without hesitation.
And don't forget, join host Ernie Johnson along with Kenny Smith and Danny Shays at the conclusion of the first half for the Nike halftime report. How about Danny's performance last night, huh?
I think, Danny, I covered the Orlando Magic where Danny Shays is a player, and I think Danny's coming after my job. I'm going to have to get on his case about that.
Danny was big on late night last night. They'll get you updated on all the scores and highlights from the earlier games today. Coming up at the half on the Nike halftime report.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk Danny Shays into playing another couple of years down there, you know. He was, it's almost as if he was auditioning last night.
Boy, Danny was on with Vince and Cheryl Layton, I tell you. He was showing it all.
Yeah, he even came out with a few of the dancing moves last night.
Payton.
Well, Payton has had a difficult time making shots.
Nice job. 8-point game with 62 seconds to go here now. Peeler will go out, and Michael Williams comes in.
Flip Saunders has to try to protect some guys. Garnett already in foul trouble. He wants to try to protect some people, so he comes back with Michael Williams.
Hawkins out defensively this time on Marbury. Marbury looking to break him down off the dribble. Nice defense there by Hawkins. Wouldn't let him by.
Amazing they've been able to get this lead with Garnett on the bench, but I think you saw a drop in Seattle's play when he went out and fouled trouble.
Payton might be looking for 2 for 1. He is. Throws it up. Baker there on the follow. And they've got the foul on Mitchell, I believe, over the back.
Not a bad foul at all by Sam Mitchell. Smart play, as a matter of fact, because you know Vin Baker struggles from the free throw line. And Vin has this one. It's going to be a lay-in if you don't foul it. So good play, Sam Mitchell.
Vin Baker, who had that huge first half, I think it was 16 points, 9 rebounds in the first half on Friday night, has 3 points tonight.
So Mitchell saves him at least 1 point. I think the smaller lineup kind of threw Seattle off out of whack here, because now they have to start thinking about matchups on their defensive end of the floor. And of course, with with Ben Baker, you can now bring Garnett down there, and it makes it more difficult for Ben Baker to make shots.
Sonics will get the ball one more time. Here's Porter. Gets it back from Mitchell. Porter backing his way in, tries the up and under. Good defense by Payton. Rebound Baker. Sonics can take the final shot. Schrempf was open and Baker didn't see him. Baker kicking it. Hawkins in the lane. Hawkins the floater. And Hersey will get to the line. Michael Williams called for the foul.
Tough foul right there because you have Seattle scrambling to get a shot off. You bail him out with that foul. Michael Williams gets caught. Another thing that is very different in this game as opposed to game one is you see Seattle getting into the paint, but every shot is challenged now tonight. In game one, I don't know that any shot when they took the ball to the basket was challenged. There was layup after layup in that game.
That's the first point for Hersey Hawkins in the game tonight, averaging 10 a game. Anthony back in, Payton out. 1.8 on the clock. It's a 6-point game at 50-44. Solid numbers for Hersey in game one.
That seems to be always the case with Hersey Hawkins. And Detlef well, you overlook them sometimes, but you look at the end of the game, their numbers are there.
Marbury's going to get a chance. Oh! Well, despite that miss, Flip Saunders has to feel pretty good about what his club has done here tonight. We are at the half, and the T-Wolves lead it by 5. Payton, Schrempf, and Baker.
Not what George Karl wanted to contend with, though, tonight. As I said, speaking with George, he thought the change Minnesota would make would be in the middle. He thought Stanley Roberts might get the start tonight because they need a few minutes, he felt, from Stanley. But it appears as though Stanley Roberts is going to spend time just where he's been in this game, and that's over on the bench. And the small lineup is going to continue to be out there.
Keeler front rims the first shot of the third quarter. Rebound picked off by Hawkins. Minnesota was actually a +1 on the scoreboard in that first half when Garnett was on the bench, and that's remarkable. Payton kicks it back. Schrempf is going to take it. Baker with the offensive rebound puts it right back up the two.
Well, see, the other thing you have to think about now, Kevin Garnett spent a lot of time on that bench in foul trouble. He has 3 personal fouls. He cannot pick up number 4. I know they've been great so far in this game without it, but they're going to have to get something from Kevin Garnett in order to close this thing out.
Here's Garnett on the offensive end.
He gets the offensive foul. And you know the way he picked it up? Vin Baker had his hand on his back, and he reached back with his arm and knocked Vin Baker's arm off of his back. What a way to pick up foul number 4.
He will stay on the floor at least for the moment. Marbury defensively up on Payton. Baker trying to get the spot right now.
Big chance they're taking right now because you know Vinny's going to get the ball.
Here's Baker. Kicks it back out. Wants it back again. They go the other side. Hawkins misses the 3. Rebound Mitchell.
We'll see how smart Kevin Garnett is right now. If he's able to play for another 3-4 minutes and not pick up that foul number 5.
Garnett trying to make an offensive move, spins and knocks him down.
Hey, and don't be surprised if every time down right here, Flip Saunders calls his number. You have to go on and ride him while he's on the floor. You don't know when that 5th foul is going to come.
Just the 2nd basket for Garnett tonight.
Vin has to make a quick move. Well, that's offense. That goes the other way.
I'm going to give you a whistle here, Gibbons.
Well, you know what? I think I understand what's happening with Seattle. They know they have to give Vin the ball for 2 reasons. Number 1, to get Vin involved. Number 2, to try to get foul number 5. But he held off that time. Great defense by Kevin Garnett.
See George Karl top of the screen, just kind of casually one leg up on the press table over there. Another Garnett. Nope. Schrempf is there. McMillan, oh, nice pass on the cut.
And I think Hersey Hawkins wanted to foul. He threw that up hoping to get the whistle, but he got 2 points.
52-49, Sonics back within 3. And Baker picks up another foul as Garnett goes baseline.
I'll tell you what, I have really been impressed with Flip Saunders here in this ball game. With his play calling, with the moves he's had to make a difference in this game, and understanding you have to ride Garnett right now against Ben Baker.
Payton and Hammond's battling, and I mean battling. Gary Payton is going to pick up the foul. That is 3 on Payton. Gary may give up about 5 inches, but he doesn't give up anything in terms of attitude.
I think he does give up a little bit of size as far as height is concerned, but the heart. Yeah. Gary Payton matches him pound for pound there.
Here's Garnett away from the basket this time, looking to take off the dribble. Now he's going to take the shot, force that one a tad, and was lucky he wasn't hauled over the back of Ellis or McMillan there.
He's going to have to be smart. I mean, he knows he has to be effective, but he's got to be smart here because the whistle has been blowing against him in this game.
Once again, the Sonics trailing by 3. Under 9 minutes to play here in the third. Payton backs Marbury down. Payton, nice. Yes, he'll go to the line.
Yeah, now that's recognition right there of your strength. And Gary Payton has that look in his eye. And I'm sure that all the folks here in Seattle have seen it, and the players have, and that means give me the ball. And let's see what happens.
Marbury with the swipe, and Payton with the basket. When we get back, Gary Payton can tie it from the line.
Gary Payton against Marbury. It's been a fun matchup tonight, a whole lot more intense than it was in game 1. But Gary Payton, knowing his team needs some points, appeared as though Marbury missed him there, but he does get called for the foul. And when Gary Payton gets this look in his eyes, he needs the ball. And his teammates understand that.
Make it a 12-2 run. And the guy who hates to lose has tied it at 52.
I really think, once again, when you're struggling, you need to go to where the experience factor is. And that's a lot of action on the inside. Detlef is going to get the foul. But one thing that I think we need to point out, Sam Mitchell got off to a great start in this game. And you remember now he re-injured that hamstring, although it wasn't quite the injury he had coming into this game, but we haven't heard from him since.
Nope. Hasn't scored since the first quarter when he had 14. Here's Garnett. Peeler trying to come around the screen. Nothing doing there. They go to Marbury instead. Payton in that defensive stance of his right in front of Marbury. Mitchell trying to back McMillan down. Mitchell, tough shot. No, tipped. And another foul going against Seattle. I think again. Although we've got a double foul.
Well, it's been a battle between Detlef and Tom Hammonds. Nate McMillan, one of the best defensive players on this team when healthy, forces the miss, but the action away from the ball gets Detlef a foul and gets Tom Hammond a foul.
Yep. 2 apiece in the foul category. Sonics now a chance to get a lead, and you know this building gets back in the game. Quick foul is called on Hammonds on the move.
I can tell by the quickness of that whistle, the officials had a little huddle and said, we need to clean this one up, fellas. It's getting out of hand. So Tom Hammond gets the quick whistle that time. If he touches it on the other end, it might go against Ben Baker.
Baker asking for the ball down on the blocks, gets it, the double from Marbury on the cut. Payton rejected by Garnett and picked off by Hammonds. Marbury all the way, rejected by McMillan, who got a hand on it on the way by. No easy baskets here, Jack.
Well, it's really tough in the paint right now. Garnett coming over from the weak side. Good job taking him away from the strong side action. Let him roam and play the policeman around the basket from the weak side.
Marbury. Peeler coming through in the baseline. Nothing doing. They go to Garnett instead. Kicks it back out to Peeler. Inside Garnett. 4 on the shot clock. Garnett doesn't know it. Skips it to Marbury. Marbury just gets it off. Beats the buzzer.
A shot falling out of bounds. Well, I don't know if that one went over the edge of the backboard.
Payton kicks it back out. Inside to Baker. Triple team. Back to McMillan. Back to Baker. Baker banks it in.
Now he has to get going. And I know the double team's coming, but for Ben Baker, he has to find some points right here. Maybe a quicker move to the basket gets him a shot.
54 apiece, 7 minutes to go. steal by McMillan. Once again, the Sonics a chance for the lead. Payton, the spin. Payton. Yes!
Now, you see what happened in here right now. At the halftime break, Minnesota had 5 turnovers. Seattle had 0 points off of those turnovers. You force the turnover, it gets the transition game going, and they get 2 points.
Jumper from the corner. Mitchell is short. Garnett, the follow, ties the game.
Tough young team.
Oh, I'm just thinking the same thing. Yep. You read my mind. They have proved here tonight that they can compete.
Now, regardless of what happens the rest of this game, it gives them momentum and confidence going back to their building.
Payton runs right into Hammond's offensive foul. Number 4 on Gary Payton.
Now, there's one of those chances, one of those times. Look where the contact comes. Well inside the dotted line. That is supposed to be an automatic block. But Payton picks up the foul.
I know some Minnesota fans aren't going to be too happy with me when I keep saying they have to prove they can compete. But they lost 26 straight games to the Seattle Supersonics and lost the last 2 games by a total of 59 points. So there was some doubt there today.
They've proven it.
Yeah. Garnett in the lane, and he'll get to the line, count the basket, and the Wolves go back up 2.
I just like right now where Minnesota is getting their points. They are not relying on the long outside jump shots that give Seattle opportunities on the fast break. They are getting to the paint, and look at Garnett's reaction.
And Garnett has done a great job, A, playing with 4 fouls, and B, now getting Vin Baker in foul trouble, who just picked up his 3rd.
Now, and I tell you, for Flip Saunders, and I know what he's thinking, can I afford to leave him out there just a couple more minutes, guys? He's asking his assistant coaches, you think we're all right? Because you don't want him getting 5 before this period's over.
Knocks down the free throw. Tomorrow night on TNT, a doubleheader coming your way. Cleveland will host the Pacers in Game 3 of that series, followed by the Suns and the Spurs. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern time tomorrow night on TNT. T-Wolves by 3, 59-56. Payton gets it back into the paint. Payton throws it up. Oh, big ball by McMillan.
Can't say enough about Nate McMillan. Now, I tell you one thing, tomorrow, Nate McMillan will not be able to walk. His knee will be so swollen.
I was just going to say, I didn't know Nate had those hops left in there.
Well, you know what? He is one of those guys that competes every night, knowing that he's going to be hurt tomorrow.
Wolves by 1 in the ball, 5:20 to go here, 3rd. Hammond had no clue how much time was on the clock.
Seattle defense, maybe for one of the few times tonight, channeled the ball to the guy they wanted to have it. Watch Nate McMillan. You're right. I didn't know he had this kind of hops either. Wasn't so much the hops, it was the hang time, because he had to hesitate a little bit before knocking that one back through. Well, what good minutes George Karl got from Nate McMillan.
Greg Anthony, Hersey Hawkins back on the floor. Payton! Now for Gary Payton, and the Sonics go up by 1.
Gary Payton started out shooting the ball horribly from the outside. He has 21.
Jack, we got a whale of a game here.
Yes, we do. I think shot selection, and I mentioned it, is more important for Minnesota than it is for Seattle.
Stephon Marbury, he's got 13.
The other thing about taking the ball to the hole, you might get to the line.
Quick hands by the Wolves, and now they have the ball and the lead with 4:25 to go. Marbury finds Hammonds. Hammonds, one pass to Garnett for 2. Great hands.
Great hands on that one. There were at least 2 Seattle players reaching for the ball. Garnett pulls it up and is able to make that shot.
I thought that was one pass too many, actually. But Garnett made me look bad. Schrempf gives it up to Hawkins. Hawkins was hoping Schrempf would roll to the basket. He didn't. 3 on the shot clock. Payton is long. Marbury is there. Porter was up the floor. Here comes Stephon. Coast to coast, no. Perkins there for the miss.
A little quick on that shot. Didn't have the numbers. Once again, shot selection is so important for Minnesota.
Detlef.
Good teams take advantage of bad shots. And that is exactly what Seattle did.
8 for Schrempf in the game. Sonics it by 1. Excuse me, make that the Wolves by 1. Tied up underneath, and a jump ball is called. Percy Hawkins sticking his nose in there.
You know, another impressive thing about what we've seen from Minnesota in this game, as Sam Mitchell comes back in the game, you get Garnett out now, good minutes. The spacing by Minnesota has been so good. I mean, they have spread the floor, taken away those double teams that Seattle's defense thrives on. They've taken that away with good spacing.
I always love to watch players try to get spots for a jump ball. It's like a I don't know what it is. Some kind of debate going on.
Well, you know what? Every little thing in a game like this is a competition in itself.
Yes, indeed. Marbury,
nice. Beautiful.
Mitchell.
Boy, that is big-time basketball. Stephon Marbury to find Mitchell for the open jump shot.
16 for Mitchell. 3, the Minnesota lead. Payton gets doubled. Lucky that pass was able to get to Perkins. Payton will try outside, and he carries a free.
Oh. Talk about loving a challenge, hating to lose. It makes you make shots like that.
Tied at 65. Marbury. Got it. Oh.
Tell you what, Marbury likes playing against Greg Anthony a whole lot better than he likes playing against Gary Payton, huh?
Here's Payton right back. And the foul is going to be on Williams, I believe, or is it going to be Mitchell? Let's see. It is going to be Williams. We've got a timeout. 2:11 to go in the third. We've got a heck of a game going on here in Seattle.
Out there, but he has confidence in his young player. Garnett stays out of foul trouble, or deeper foul trouble, and becomes a factor on the offensive end of the floor.
Let's check in with Mark Zumoff. Mark.
Guys, for what it's worth, in the Carl Payton era in Seattle, a history of Game 2 losses in the first round. 92 to Golden State, 93 to Utah, 95 to the Lakers, 96 to Sacramento. The only saving grace for George, his team won 3 of those 4 series.
Well, I think for George Karl, he tries and has tried to keep his team thinking positive. He has tried not to talk about the negative things, the losing in those series, and Percy Hawkins makes the technical free throw.
Right, technical foul was called on Michael Williams as we went to break.
They thought Michael Williams was thinking he got hooked on the baseline by Gary Payton with that off arm. The officials didn't see it that way.
Sonics once again now a chance to take the lead back, trailing by 1 at 67-66, about to go into 2 minutes in the third. The double on Payton. Anthony goes right back into him, gets it back.
Well, that's real good rotation. Look at the rotation. Now watch the shot you have to end up with. Oh, Anthony knocks it down. Big time 3.
Yeah, a lot of people are stepping up in this ball game tonight.
Well, I think for Flip Saunders, if that's the shot he's going to get beaten by here tonight, under that kind of pressure, he'll take it.
Williams to the hoop, couldn't finish. Loose ball comes right back to Porter. Anthony catches up with Marbury. Porter's going to try a 3. Yeah, he got it.
Oh, that is shooting the basketball by both teams here in this third period.
70-69, Minnesota. Anthony, no, and Williams there for the miss. Mitchell skips the top of the key to Hammonds.
The shots are flying from the outside,
and they're going down.
Flying from behind the three-point line.
18 for Stephon Marbury. And the T-Wolves go back up 4 here in the final minutes.
They keep on answering every punch Seattle's throwing.
Inside to Baker. To Anthony on the cut. He couldn't get a clean catch. Here comes Williams off the turnover. Gets it to Marbury. Steps on. Fouled by Sam Perkins.
Three-point line is not a problem tonight, as Seattle doing what they have done all season long, letting them fly from behind the three-point line. Minnesota, though, closed out the season shooting it so well from behind the three-point line, so they don't hesitate putting it up either.
Marbury looking to extend this 4-point lead with 40 seconds and a little change left to go here in the third. Knocks down the first.
Minnesota shot 45% from the three-point line, beyond the three-point line, in the final 16 games. Anthony Peeler was the guy doing most of the damage. He shot 52% over about that period, but it's not been his series so far.
Anthony has a history of big fourth quarters in the playoffs. That's going to be a travel on Gary Payton as he tried to spin through the double team.
It's about time they called it. I mean, that's happened about 4 times already in this series. And at some point, you have to blow the whistle.
A couple of changes of the pivot foot there.
At least 2. You know, I think the fact Minnesota established their game on the inside, taking the ball to the hole, is making those three-point shots a whole lot easier to come by now.
6 on the shot clock. Porter will take it. And make it. 16 for Terry Porter. Payton looking to answer. Got stripped. McMillan. Yes.
Do you give Gary Payton the assist on that play or not?
This will probably go in. We have played 3 in Seattle. A 10-2 run by the resilient Timberwolves. And they've got a 77-71 lead as we head for the fourth. And Marbury now stepping it up here in the second half.
Well, you knew that was going to happen. I think Minnesota did a great thing getting the other guys involved because it keeps the rest of the Sonic defense honest.
Shrimp.
Man, pressure. Shot right there by Detler.
He's in double figures now with 10. It's a 4-point game. Williams, Marbury, Porter, Hammonds, and Garnett are on the floor for the T-Wolves. It's McMillan, Baker, Payton, Anthony, and Shrimp for the Sonics. Marbury trying to take Anthony. Lays it nicely down on the baseline to Hammonds.
I mean, that's what Gary Payton was doing to him in game 1. Breaking him down, getting to the paint, and getting dunks for Ben Baker and company. It's been Marbury tonight.
Hammonds off the bench tonight has picked up 10 points. Stephen Marbury has 7 assists in the game. Inside Shrimp over Williams, mismatch there, and Williams is going to be called for the push underneath.
You know, we've had a few times in this game where the mismatch has been in Seattle's favor, and it's been Williams a couple of times caught down on the low post guarding a much larger player, and they make him pay for it on that one.
Anthony Peeler coming back into the game for the T-Wolves. Williams will go to the bench with his 5th personal foul.
I tell you what, though, Flip Saunders has to be ecstatic at what he's gotten from Williams in this game. I mean, here's a guy that plays only 6 games for you all year. Missed the last 2.5 years to injury. He's made some gutsy calls. His smaller lineup.
I mean, we haven't talked about it tonight. No Cherokee Parks, no Stanley Roberts, at least this evening. He is dressed and ready to go, but is still hurting over there. And that's about 13.5, nearly 14 feet a player.
Yeah, we're not going to see Stanley Roberts. Another problem for Stanley Roberts, he had those injuries late in the season. What about 2 weeks without practicing, and he put on a little extra weight. And in this kind of tempo, can't use it.
Porter misses the 3 outside after Garnett had kept it alive. Baker, little 2-man game. Hawkins knocks it down.
What are you going to give up if you're Minnesota? What are you going to give up to Seattle? You double team down, they get the 3-point shot.
Sonics back to within one, and the crowd back in the game, but Greg Anthony picks up a foul. Not a very good one. I think when you have a guy like Stephen Marbury, and he's getting off in this game on you, you feel like you have to take everything away from him immediately, and that a lot of times gets you in trouble. Here's Porter laying it down. Hammonds couldn't finish. Shrimp over the top with a rebound.
Wow, good weak side adjustment defensively for Seattle there to take that shot away.
Detlef for the lead. The Sonics have retaken the lead, and the crowd is back in the game. All right, Fitz, thanks very much. Detlef Shrimp doing the job at both ends for the Sonics, and they have retaken the lead now at 80-79.
Now let's see what kind of shot you get coming out of this timeout if you're Minnesota. You don't get one. You get the offensive foul. It's really amazing how Seattle gets so much energy from their defense. When they make one good defensive play, it seems to lead to a barrage of effective defensive plays that get them points.
Well, we talked so much about the Payton and Marbury matchup, and you touched on it in the first half, Jack. Anthony's done a great job.
And Ben Baker picks up.
Yes, he does. And that's 4 on Baker. Quick check with Mark Zumoff. Mark.
Tom Flip Saunders in the Minnesota huddle moments ago looked at his guys squarely in the face and said, if I told you 2 nights ago you would be down 1 with 9:38 to go in the game, how would you react? And they all gave a resounding cheer. And then Kevin Garnett said, hey, y'all, we own the 4th quarter.
All right, we will see. That's confidence.
Well, I tell you what,
Garnett.
And you want to know where the confidence comes from? Because they close out the season on such a high note. Beating teams like Utah, beat the Lakers, beat Miami.
Foul is going to be called on Detlef Shrimp. The crowd thought he had made a great defensive play. The official says no.
That is where the confidence comes from. Winning ball games.
And it'll be Hammonds at the line to try to give the T-Wolves back the lead. They trail by 1. Tomorrow night on TNT, it's a doubleheader night. The Pacers and the Cavs in Game 3 of that series, followed by the Suns and the Spurs. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern tomorrow night here on TNT, and that is what Tom Hammonds is trying to shoot into. Makes the second, ties it at 80 with 8+ minutes to play. McMillan looking inside. They go to Baker. The double from Porter. Nate goes right back to Baker again. Again, the double comes from Porter.
Well, Ben Baker is now waiting for the double team. He needs to make that quick move. He's kind of waiting to see where the double team's going to come from.
Marbury trying to get the T-Wolves back to lead, and it's kicked out of bounds by Anthony. They'll reset the shot clock, and Gary Payton will come back into the game.
But Nate McMillan's going to take the seat. And when he leaves, you have another guy that can defend at that small forward spot out there. So while they don't want to take him out of the game, you have to get Payton back in there. They also feel Anthony is a good matchup for Marbury.
Garnett trying to get the spot on Shrimp. They go into him. Turns, faces up. Garnett's going to take it and make it.
That's tough. That's a big-time move any way you look at it. Big-time basket.
Kevin Garnett is popped right now.
Wow, look at that look. He's getting Gary Payton-ized right now.
He does.
He has that look in his face that Gary Payton thinks belongs to him. He doesn't look like a member of the Fun Police right now.
Hawkins through the lane, and Garnett rips off the rebound.
For Garnett, the fun is in winning.
8 rebound, blocking foul, Greg Anthony.
Well, watch Kevin Garnett with, number one, how he establishes this position on the low post. Detlef trying to draw the foul. Didn't work. But then watch how quickly he makes this move. He knows the double team's coming, but he doesn't wait for it. Vin Baker needs to do a little bit more of that on the other end right now.
T-Wolves the ball and the lead with 7:20 to go in the game. Marbury.
Love the shot selection Minnesota has right now.
Marbury tries to take Anthony. Little hesitation. Marbury to the basket, but it wouldn't stay.
Tough miss, but proper shot.
Payton the other way. Leaves it. Anthony's going to take it. Rebound saved by Porter. Picked off by Garnett.
Tell you what, Minnesota's a quicker team right now.
Porter to the basket for two.
They're a quicker team. They're a more aggressive team. They have the lead back.
And a 5-0 run by the T-Wolves since the timeout. And George Karl says, hey, we're going to talk this over, guys. Minnesota by 4.
Points off of turnovers, but not tonight. Minnesota leading that category 16-4. Kevin Garnett. Have to give the guy credit. Got in early foul trouble, and he has stayed on the floor.
Payton races into the forecourt. Payton, Shrimp, Anthony, Baker, Hawkins on the floor for Seattle. Crunch time here for the Sonics. Down 4 at home. Quick move. Baker. 5 in the shot clock. Oh, and a trip is called. Minnesota was in the midst of a pretty good defensive stand there, Jack.
Yes, they were. Just been a tough series for Anthony Peeler in a number of ways. Hasn't been able to make shots, and he just gets back on the floor and picks up the quick foul.
3 on Anthony. Payton. Porter's got him. Baker wants the ball. They get it to him. Quick double. Back to Payton. Back to Baker. Nearly picked off. It is picked off by Peeler.
Continues to help though in other ways. Shows a little bit of experience coming through for Anthony Peeler. Still rebounding the basketball. Good defensive play there.
Garnett kicks it. Marbury will take it. Rebound is Shrimp.
He has had 2 great looks at the basket. Unfortunate misses.
Detlef Shrimp, coast to coast, kicks it. Hawkins. Hawkins, little floater goes. Percy's got 10, and it's a 2-point game again.
See where both teams are going for points right now. They're going right to the basket.
Anthony out on Marbury. Marbury keeping the dribble alive. Stephon. Garnett, a little floater. No. Tipped by Hammonds, won't stay down. Peeler the follow.
He's had 10 rebounds now in each game.
And no bigger one than that. 86-82. Baker again trying to get the spot. They get it to him. Back out to Payton.
Well, you can continue to come with the double team until someone makes one from the outside.
Hawkins had time to set his feet. Back rims that one. Long rebound. Payton and Anthony scramble, race for it. Anthony got there first. Gets it ahead to Shrimp. Hawkins, Payton. Yes.
Oh, man. That's a huge basket right there. And once again, Seattle loves every opportunity. They take advantage of it.
3 for Payton. 1-point game at 86-85. Listen to this crowd. It is bedlam in here. Porter back rims a 3, but Peeler with his 12th rebound of the night.
He's done a wonderful job finding a way to help his team.
Pulls up. Can't get the shot to stay. Last touch by Garnett.
I mean, Anthony Peeler's not making shots, but he's not going to let that get him down. Greg Anthony beats Porter for this one, and this is one of those extra opportunities Seattle loves to take advantage of.
Payton spins into the lane. Payton all the way. Got swallowed, but he'll get to the line. And Hammonds volunteering for the foul.
Well, if Garnett's close, he's going to raise his hand as quickly as possible to get the officials on him and not on Kevin Garnett. It's like the way both teams right now are charging the basket, challenging at the hole. If you don't make it, you might get to the free throw line. It tells you how valuable every possession is right now.
Payton ties the game. 28 points for Gary Payton.
Well, I'm just glad to see Mitchell back in the game, but it's so unfortunate because he's been nowhere close to where he was the first period since that injury.
Rebound controlled by Mitchell, and we're going to play a 4-minute basketball game here tonight in Seattle. It's 86 apiece.
Well, I'm watching Mitchell run. He's really dragging that left leg. He's setting the screen right now. Watch how he's moving. Really having trouble.
Mueller. Picked off by Hawkins.
Had himself in trouble. Left his feet on the baseline. Had nowhere to go.
Sonics now a chance for the lead. They go inside to Baker. Outside to Payton. Schrempf. Bullet pass inside. Rejected. Baker rejected again by Garnett. Huge play.
He can play now. He's shown his smarts because he stayed out of foul trouble. Now with 4 fouls, he can go all out around the basket.
Williams handling it outside. Finds Porter. Porter to the hole. No. Rebound loose. Williams tracks it down. Williams a little closer. Finds Garnett for 2.
Detlef is down. Payton is down. So Minnesota taking the action right to Seattle.
Detlef Schrempf in obvious pain, holding his right knee. 3:02 to go in a 2-point game. We'll be back.
And that injury, I don't know if you've ever had it, but that is painful. For about 3 minutes.
Yep. Mark Zuboff, how's he feeling over there? All right, we're having some mic problems over there. I'm surprised it is so loud in here. But Schrempf obviously okay as he's got the ball. His club is down 2 under 3 minutes to go in the game. They go to Payton. Mitchell
those
comes to double
teams. Those double teams have been excellent. And then a rotation out of the double teams to the weak side. That's the way Seattle plays defense.
And they forced the turnover. Huge possession here for the T-Wolves to ball and up 2 with 2:30 to go. And that far away from the biggest win in the history of their franchise. And Marbury turns it over.
You know what? This is not the time to take it one-on-one and try to make yourself a hero right here. You have been successful with screens, with moving the basketball, and with beating Seattle on the weak side of the floor. Big turnover there.
Baker kicks it out. Schrempf thought about it. Schrempf leaves it. Payton. Schrempf, that's wide open.
Too much room, but he misses it.
Rebound Mitchell. 2 opportunities by the boards for the Sonics here. And the T-Wolves can take it under 2 minutes. The ball and the lead.
Now look who's handling the basketball. Kicks it to Porter to set up the play.
Marbury nearly traveled again. Dangerous pass. Garnett able to track it down. Garnett, a fake. A wild shot kicked off underneath by McMillan.
He wanted the whistle.
Loose ball. Garnett knocked it away. Marbury for 2.
What about the desire being shown by Minnesota here?
This is a huge possession for the Sonics. McMillan back rims a 3. Porter with the miss.
Right. Double teams and rotation out of the double teams has been excellent by Minnesota.
Marbury checks the clock. It's a 2-possession game at this moment, 90-86. Marbury behind the back. Marbury just kind of threw it up and got bailed out.
Yeah, but see, that's the key to taking the ball to the basket. That's why in a close ball game, you shouldn't rely on the first shot, which a lot of times is from way outside. Take it to the hole, put the pressure on the officials, and he gets the benefit of the whistle.
T-Wolves will take a 20-second timeout. Gary Payton still debating his 5th personal foul. Gary's dead. That look says it all.
Now, that's the kind of look Gary Payton has on his face a lot of times. It's all in the eyes, as you saw in that shot.
1:06 left to go, and at the conclusion of tonight's game, join host Vince Cellini and Cheryl Miller and Vancouver head coach Brian Hill. All of them will be on Inside the NBA. They'll catch you up on all the playoff action from earlier today after the game on Inside the NBA. Seattle has not scored in the last 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
Well, if we could get a split screen with Peyton and his dad, I think you look at the eyes and you don't have any trouble knowing that they're father and son.
Marbury with his 23rd point of the night.
Minnesota has simply done everything they've had to do in this game to be in it with 106 left.
Two-possession game. Here comes Peyton. We'll go under a minute on this possession. Peyton into the paint. Peyton, little floater goes. 30 for Peyton. Sonics need to stop.
Another factor here we have to mention. Minnesota, the #1 team in the league with fewest turnovers. So don't look for them to give it up.
Peyton and Marbury, just the way you'd want it matched up. Porter takes a tough shot. Front rims it. Rebound. Keeler's got it.
He has been there all night on the board. It just goes to show you don't have to score points all the time to be effective.
George Karl, I think, wants him to foul. Maybe not. Yeah, he did.
I don't know about the foul there. I don't know if he was calling for it or not, but you're going to get the ball back. You're going to get yourself another shot. Your defense has been the thing you've been promoting the whole game and the whole year. Let's see if you can get a stop, because this could make it another two-possession game with 23 left.
I thought that little slap on the wrist by George there was a call for foul.
I think you're right. But, you know, they rely on their defense to win games here in Seattle. So you give your defense a chance to keep you in it.
Porter is 2 for 2 at the line tonight. 23.3 on the clock. The lead is 3. The lead is 4.
Can't feel any better about having Terry Porter on the line if you're Minnesota. Rather have him there than anyone else on the floor. Experience, he's been there all those years with Portland going to the finals.
86% free throw shooter over the course of the season. 19 points in a starting role tonight. And the T-Wolves looking at the biggest win in their history if they can hold on for 20-plus seconds. The Sonics use a timeout. It is a two-possession game. 22.4 to go here in Seattle. 92-88, Minnesota. Pressures, and the negative pressures are winning out so far here tonight.
Well, every reason for him to be concerned as you see the trouble Seattle has had in the first round. Losing to Denver, becoming the first ever #8 seed to lose to a number one seed to lose to a #8 seed. They've had trouble, and it's showing here again tonight in game 2.
All right, Nate McMillan right in front of us to inbound. This one not over yet. It's a 4-point game, 22 seconds to go. Peyton,
you don't need 3. You need the quickest shot you can get.
Gets the roll.
That's what you needed, and they get 2.
92-90, Garnett needs to get it in, does to Porter. Tipped away, but picked off by Marbury at half court. Oh, the Sonics nearly got the steal they needed.
Nate McMillan makes the big play, knocks it away from behind. But as has been the case tonight, Stephon Marbury a little bit quicker to the ball.
And the problem now for the Sonics right there, that was foul number 6 on Gary Payton, who goes to the bench with 30. Make it 32.
He's had a huge game, but if this should go to overtime, don't know if it will. That'll be a big deficit going into that period without him.
Marbury calmly buries the first. It's a 3-point game with 13.8 to go as Mr. Payton looks at his son and looks at the scoreboard. Not a good night for Al Payton and family. Marbury makes them both. Seattle takes a timeout, 13.8 to go. It's still a two-possession game, but time is running out on the Sonics. McMillan to inbound at half court. Peeler will not play up tight. He's back about 8 or 9 feet. Schrempf, Baker, Hawkins, and Anthony on the floor. Sonics trying to make the pass down low, and a foul is called on Garnett. That's 5 on Garnett, but more importantly, it gives Seattle a chance. No, they had a foul away, so
they had a foul to give. The only thing I'm thinking is this a dead ball foul before the ball is back in? Good call, Jack. If that is, he should be on the free throw line. So we'll see what happens.
20-second timeout. I don't see any of the Seattle coaching staff trying to raise that point. It appears they're just going to inbound, but no time went off the clock, so it has to be a dead ball foul. Don't forget, inside the NBA with Vince Cellini is coming your way next. Brian Hill and Cheryl Miller will also be joining Vince tonight. They'll catch you up on all the playoff action from earlier today, and a full day it was after the game on Inside the NBA.
Well, they're taking the ball out of bounds on the side, so no free throws coming.
But no time went off the clock.
No time went off the clock.
Which means it had to be a dead ball foul.
Normally with a dead ball foul, you're shooting free throws. But they're not there.
Kevin McHale breaking out the suit tonight, and he may have that on for the rest of the series. He is a superstitious guy.
Well, I'm glad we didn't pan down to see the slacks Kevin McHale has on.
Oh, come on. I tried to give Kevin a break there.
Those jeans, you know, I don't know. I know he's been on the road a few days, but maybe the iron and iron board not working in his room, huh?
All right, Schrempf into the paint. Schrempf a little leaner. Schrempf able to draw the foul? Yes, he is, with 9.6 to go.
But Detlef does what he has to do. He gets a chance to give his team some points one way or the other. Timeout situation. Minnesota has 2 full timeouts left. Seattle has none.
Detlef missing the first. Tomorrow night on TNT, doubleheader again. It'll be the Cavs and the Pacers in Game 3, followed by the Suns and the Spurs. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern tomorrow night here on TNT. Schrempf now for the second of 2, 9.6 seconds to go. Sonics down 4, make it 3. 1 possession game, but they need the ball.
And they'll foul as quickly as possible. Mitchell's going to go to the line, and he'll have 2. But I tell you what, as you think about what Minnesota's been able to do, knowing they're in foul trouble, they have taken any guys that are suspect from the free throw line, they have taken them totally out of the play. Have not given them a chance to even touch the basketball. They're keeping the ball in the hands of the guys they want on the line.
Sam Mitchell, an 83% free throw shooter. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Both of those came early in the second period.
Well, it's been tough for Sam Mitchell because he got off to such a great start in this game. And he's showing a lot of guts simply being out there because you know he has to be in a lot of pain. That hamstring kept him out of the last game, the only game of the year he missed. But he's hanging tough tonight.
That was a huge free throw right there. It's now a 4-point game with 8.8. All I have to do now is just kind of slow the Sonics down a little bit.
Yeah, because they can't advance the ball. They don't have timeouts left.
Mitchell makes them both. Gary Payton, you heard him earlier with us saying how much he hated to lose. Well, this is going to be a tough one tonight. Anthony with 3.4 to go, and Porter able to get away, then get fouled with 2.2 on the clock. 96-93.
Well, you know, the one thing for Minnesota there, you want to let them score. You don't want to commit the foul, but you want to make it a little bit more difficult for him to score. I mean, he just drove right straight down the floor and laid it in. About 4 seconds left when that ball went through the net.
Michael Williams, Reggie Jordan, Duane Wheat starting to feel it a little bit up one end, and Greg Anthony certainly feeling it up the other. Some of the sellout crowd, the 109th, I believe, consecutive sellout crowd starting to file out of here. And the negative energies, negative pressure, call it what you will, that George Karl talks about that surrounds this Sonic team. They will be dredging all that up in the papers the next couple of days.
In the next couple of days.
Yeah, hits the free throws. You see Sam Perkins
in the previous couple of days. They brought it. That's all they've been writing about.
It's unbelievable what you read of it.
I mean, it's going to happen tomorrow. They have reason to write it, but George Karl trying his best to get his team to forget about that stuff. But every article.
Porter makes them both. The biggest win in the history of the Minnesota Timberwolves has happened here tonight in Seattle. Unbelievable comeback by this young club